Our top story this hour, it's the first day of October today, and that means changes for minimum wage workers in this province. Starting today, Ontario's general minimum wage goes up from $15.50 an hour to $16.55. The minimum wage for students who meet certain conditions goes up over $1 as well to $15.60. Craig Pickthorne is a spokesman with the Ontario Living Wage Network, and he says take-home pay is still problematic for anyone living on minimum wage.
In the GTA, our living wage is actually $23.15. That means if you're working full-time at minimum wage, even after this increase, you're still short by $230 a week of being able to pay your bills, being able to make ends meet, even though you're working full-time. What else is work for but to pay your bills? If you work full-time, you should be able to make ends meet, but you can't. In fact, anywhere in the province, in Ontario, can you do that on a minimum wage.
For more on what the minimum wage increase means for workers, we've got Samia Hashi. She's the Unifor Ontario Regional Director. Good morning, Samia. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What is the impact for minimum wage workers to now earn just over $1 more starting today?
Yeah, it's an improvement, but really falls short at really addressing the affordability needs of minimum wage earners. So anybody earning $16.55 an hour will tell you it's not enough to make ends meet in this province. You know, in terms of being able to afford their basic needs like food and transportation and housing, it's not enough. And so it's an improvement, but really falls short.
How many people does this impact, Samia? I think it's the province saying it's a 6.8% increase in minimum wage, some $2,200 more per year, which we both know when you've got an expensive mortgage, food to put on the table for your family, hydro bills to pay is not a lot.
Absolutely. This is going to impact 900,000 or more workers in this province. So that's a significant amount of people that are earning minimum wage. And so we know that even though it is a little bit of an improvement, it is still a far gap from what a real livable wage in this province is.
And $2,200 annually, that's still, you know, below the rate of a one-bedroom apartment or one-bedroom condo here in the city of Toronto specifically. How does someone who's earning minimum wage make ends meet? How do they pay the bills, not only in Toronto or the GTA, but really anywhere in Ontario? Samia?
Yeah, and when you're talking to minimum wage earners, you're going to find that they're working multiple jobs. They're living in precarious housing situations. They're living in situations where there are smaller units than the amount of people that live in there. So roommates or multiple families living in smaller living conditions. So it is a struggle for workers earning minimum wage every single day to make ends meet. And so it's hard. It's hard for them. But we know that these are workers that are going to be working multiple jobs and in really precarious situations.
I guess whose responsibility is this? Because the provincial government will tell you they've made more increases than governments in the past here in Ontario, and yet life is getting more and more expensive. So how does one square that?
Well, this government really failed the people in 2019 and 2020 when they did not introduce the minimum wage increases. We would have seen workers in a better situation. It is the government's responsibility to ensure that the province is affordable for people. And instead of, you know, we need investments in low-income housing, and we need to also ensure that employers that are making record profits are sharing those profits with their workers. So it is the responsibility of the governments, but also these big corporations that are making a lot of money and a lot of profits on not sharing that.
Certainly, you mentioned the employers, the big corporations, they're doing well for themselves. But what about the average, you know, mom and pop shop, the private business owner who maybe has a bakery or a restaurant? They're now having to pay more of their I guess, hard-earned profits as well to people who are working for them. So this impacts not only, it's kind of a double-edged sword, it impacts not only the minimum wage worker, but also the person who's not the big corporation, the small business owner. What do you say to these small business owners who themselves are having trouble paying the bills?
Yeah, well, the reality is the small business owners are not really the biggest culprits of the employers that are paying minimum wages. For small business owners, I think they see the value of paying better wages for their workers because it means being able to retain better workers and people that can afford to live and work, and retention is a very important part for small business owners. So I don't think that the real culprits are going to be your small business owners. They see the value of paying workers fair wages.
Samia Hashi, Unifor's Ontario Regional Director, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Have a great day.